Apex is known for its hard to learn movement tech, so what if I gave myself 24 hours to learn one of the hardest movement techs to see if it will actually make me a better player? And this movement tech is super gliding. It's really hard to do because it requires precise timing, but if you manage it, you can launch yourself off any object you can mantle in the game, which could give you the upper hand in a fight. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, when I started this challenge, I could super glide, but very poorly. In fact, I decided to time myself for 2 minutes and to see how many super glides I could do in that 2 minutes, and it was only 7. I loosely understood the mechanics of a super glide, but I was not consistent, so I decided to give myself 3 challenges for this 24 hours. Double my super glide consistency, get a kill within 3 seconds of a super glide 3 times, and get a super glide kill that's just stylish. And well, let's just say throughout this challenge, I learned a lot. To start my super glide training, I stayed in the firing range and decided to practice for about 20 minutes, because practice makes perfect, right? Also, I have a keyboard cam on in the top left, where I'm actually using my brand new Hex 80 from Grrt keys, which is an insanely good keyboard, and later on throughout this video, I actually discover how physically altering the keyboard can help me get better at super glides. And Grrt keys are the sponsor of this video, which is great because I use this keyboard every day now. The Hex 80 is their brand new keyboard that they just released, featuring the Owl Labs magnetic linear switches, which feel and sound great. Here they are. And also, here's the best part, have adjustable actuation points from 0.1mm to 4mm, which can be used to customize your response time, which is brilliant. Every key press is fast, precise, and customizable. Also, the keyboard is made with a carbon fiber plate, dampening layers, and a gasket mounted design, giving the Hex 80 a really nice sound. This thing feels absolutely amazing. It even has a web-based driver where you can change your keyboard settings, even down to the lighting. And it's brilliant that you can change these precise settings on the web so you don't bloat up your computer with software. And it's going to be carrying me through this adventure, as you're gonna see. Also, I did get the keyboard in the Ava 01 colors deliberately. Back to my super glide training though. After some time just practicing my super glides, I did see improvement and also improved at my B-hop, but I needed to further understand what a super glide was to become mechanically better at it. In fact, I should probably explain what a super glide is to you guys. Essentially, a super glide is literally just jumping and then crouching at the end of a mantle. So, when your character finishes climbing any object, just press jump and then a millisecond later, press crouch, and then you super glide. The thing is, it's much harder than it sounds, as the space you have to jump and then crouch at the end of a mantle is only around 0.15 seconds. So it takes a lot of practice to find the sweet spot and consistently jump and then crouch on the last 0.15 seconds. And then the next challenge is when you do the jump and then crouch, the jump and crouch inputs can only be 1 frame apart from each other. And also, the jump always has to come before the crouch. This makes timing the hardest part for super gliding, meaning it takes a lot of practice. So I decided to look around YouTube and see if there were any tutorials that could help me get better. And this tutorial suggested a really good way to figure out when you should super glide at the end of a mantle, as when you mantle, your camera is locked, but at the very end of the mantle in the super glide sweet spot, you can actually start moving your camera around. And if you practice just climbing up objects and moving your camera around, you will start to feel out when you can do those super glide inputs, which really helped me figure out timing. Also, I had heard a long time ago it's way easier to super glide if you bind your crouch button to V on your keyboard, as with your thumb you will press space and then immediately after press crouch. And as I was learning this, I would hear something weird, but this would completely change my super glide adventure, as a few people suggested flipping over your crouch key so your thumb will press it sooner after the jump key, therefore making your super glides more consistent. Now this sounded weird, but the science was there, as I found out when I flipped my V key, my thumb would press down the crouch button sooner after the jump key because it was a bit more raised towards the end of my thumb, which really closed that gap I had where I had to press crouch 1 frame after jump. Luckily, my Hex 80 keyboard came with a little key remover, which I used to remove the V key, and then flipped it and then put it back in. And the results from simply doing this were amazing, as I used the Apex Movement.tech Superglide trainer to see the Superglide success chance difference with V flipped and without V flipped, and it turns out, without flipping the V key, my normal Superglide success rate is about 33%. But when I flipped the key, I swear to God, it went to 67%. This little change changed everything. Now, immediately in the game, I didn't feel like I was being more consistent with the super glides, but that's because the keyboard felt kind of new again, so I had to get used to it again. But eventually, my super glides felt like they started getting a bit more consistent, and also the new upside down key felt a bit more comfy for the constant attempts at super gliding. So I continued practicing in the firing range. First of all, to get used to the upside down key, but also to apply every single thing I'd learned from the tutorials I'd watched. And I felt good. I felt so good, I went to play Mixtape. Now, because we were playing Mixtape and fights were much easier to take and much more frequent, I decided this challenge right here, get kills within 3 seconds of a super glide, would not count in Mixtape because it would be too easy. But I decided to allow myself to do the style challenge, and that was worth it, I'll tell you that. Immediately in Mixtape, I was just trying to super glide off every surface possible, especially when enemies were near. And sometimes it was successful, and sometimes it wasn't. But I soon discovered that if I picked up a Grrt, I had a really high chance to get an easy but also stylish kill. So I continued to practice my super glides in Mixtape, but kept my eye out for a Grrt until the perfect moment. A Grrt. I'm not gonna lie, in this moment I was worrying because I knew Grrts were gonna be pretty rare, but what better time than now? I decided to go for a Grrt kill and only cracked their enemy. This was disappointing, but I felt something click in my head. I could actually get a Grrt kill after a super glide, which would look awesome. So for the next hour or two in Mixtape, I kept getting kills after super glides and also kept my eye out for Grrts. I had a terrible game where I picked up a Grrt several times and failed to get kills every time, but in the game after that, I was in School Town and we were playing Gun Run, which meant if I played my cards right, I could get a guaranteed Grrt kill. And after some grind and some bad and maybe good kills, I got the Grrt, and I was worrying. I did not want the game to end, and I also didn't want to get a boring kill with a Grrt. I wanted to lure this enemy outside. And then I bumped into a Wraith on the way outside. I did not want to choke this, but realized I had an opportunity. So I popped my Mirage ult and then applied the muscle memory I had been learning. Oh my god. I completed the first challenge and I got way more confidence in myself. If I can get a kill with a Grrt like that, surely the other two challenges are gonna be a breeze. So I decided the natural next step was to move on to Battle Royale, where I'd have to complete my second challenge. Get a kill within 3 seconds of a super glide 3 times. But you know what? Several hours into this challenge, I was feeling on top of the world. Not only because I hit that shot, but also, much like Shinji and his Ava, I became one with my keyboard, the Hex 80. Our first stop for Battle Royale is Broken Moon in Quarantine Zone, and this area has many ledges where you can super glide off, so I was pretty hopeful. I managed to get a few kills without super gliding, but I wanted one with a super glide. And then the perfect opportunity showed itself. I saw the enemies through this window, and I knew if I super glided into the room they were guarding, I would get the jump on them. So I started my mantle and did a successful super glide over a grenade which looked awesome, and also redirected myself in the air to land in front of the enemy. They definitely weren't expecting this and I managed to get a kill off. Unfortunately though, not within 3 seconds, so this kill does not count towards the challenge. The next game took us to Kings Canyon where I got a pretty bad head injury. The first few fights went pretty well, we got some enemies but with no super glide kills. After this we went to fight at Labs where I got hit right in the nose with a grenade and then died not long after in the zone. But the next game was way better. In this game we landed at Cage and had a fight off drop. and luckily the last enemy of the squad we were fighting was deciding to play around a very mantleable piece of cover. So I attempted to super glide once, failed, twice failed, but the third time hit the super glide and got my first kill within 3 seconds of a super glide. That was one ticked off the list. This felt good and I felt like I was back on track, and for the rest of that game we did pretty well. Moving on to the next game though, I had a bit of an embarrassing moment as we were fighting a fortified team and Newcastle had his barriers up, and I saw the perfect opportunity to super glide over his barrier and kill him. So guess what? I hit the super glide, flew over the Newcastle, shot him a bit, and then accidentally reloaded my gun. I don't know how I did this. I lost a massive opportunity, so that sucked. Although do know, I did still kill him. I just didn't kill him within 3 seconds. I set myself some hard rules, especially for someone with bad aim. This match would come to a cracking oh my god, and anticlimactic end. Someone just died in the ring and we won. In the next game, I started off by getting a pretty cool super glide into combat, although it didn't result in a kill. I started off feeling pretty good, and it turns out this was for good reason, as in the next fight, I would once again get a perfect opportunity for a super glide kill. I knew enemies were over this railing shooting another team. So I thought to myself, if I super glide over this railing, it's gonna look cool. And guess what? I hit the super glide and got the kill within 3 seconds. This meant I had to get one more kill within 3 seconds to complete my challenge. Honestly, it felt good. My super glides were getting more consistent and I got less anxious and worried when super gliding in fights. It all started to feel a lot more natural, as I was facing a few issues of kind of struggling to super glide because I was under pressure in fights, but practice once again made perfect. I was getting better. Our next few games would take us to World's Edge, where I would hit a super glide at the tree point of interest and then proceed to miss all of my shots, causing me to not get the kill I wanted. Slightly embarrassing, but the next game would be better, as we landed at Fragment and got into a pretty early fight at Streamer Building. Of course, Fragment is packed, so there were plenty of fights around us. After getting one kill in Streamer Building, I heard a fight outside and thought this is my chance. I knew there was a railing outside of this door, so I thought let's try to hit it. And lo and behold, I managed to get my final kill within 3 seconds of a super glide. It felt good, and it felt good that this challenge was coming to a close, as I got this kill 7 hours after I'd started the challenge. So, with my list of gameplay achievements ticked off, I only had one challenge left, to check if my super glide consistency had doubled. And this could be calculated, like at the start, by seeing how many super glides I could do within 2 minutes. At the start of the video, I only got 7 super glides within 2 minutes, so ideally to finish this challenge off, I needed 14, and I was only giving myself one chance, because that would be a true representation of my consistency. I thought of everything I'd learned, and the kills I had got with super glides. I thought about how doing something as simple as flipping my key made me about 2 times better with my super glide consistency, and I thought about how me and my Hex 80 had such a good relationship, I could think what it was thinking. It thought I was the GOAT and I was going to smash this, so I started off my 2-minute challenge. And honestly, I had a really rough start. Right about now, I was really regretting giving myself one chance to do this, but I stuck by my guns because I want to show you guys that it's possible, or not possible. As the challenge went on, I started hitting those super glides. I think I had to drain the nerves away from myself, and it was going pretty well. About halfway through the challenge, I hit 7 super glides, which was a good sign of me doubling my consistency, so I kept going until I finished off the challenge with 15 super glides, over double my original consistency. And this was with my terrible start, which is great and proves one thing: super gliding is really hard to do, but enough practice will make it work. Also, forcing yourself to do the same thing for hours works as well. I think the thing that helped me the most within this journey though was flipping my crouch key. And by the way, if you liked the Hex 80 keyboard, there's a link in the description and pinned comment to buy it, and trust me, I used to have a Fnatic keyboard and I've literally thrown it away now. The Hex 80 is just way heavier, it's way nicer, it moves around less and feels meaty and sounds amazing. I am so glad QWERTY Keys reached out, so go check out the keyboard in the link and pinned comment, and subscribe!